What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'll be your host and producer this afternoon, Logan Landers, and joining me here once again to preview the Atlanta Falcons, talking about their game against the Buffalo Bills. Going to be at Mercedes-Benz, so going to have the hometown crowd behind us. October 13th, 7:15 p.m. kickoff. Help me out today, as always, is the man himself, Mr. Football, Vincent Turner. Vincent, how you doing, man? Glad to have you back here talking some Atlanta Falcons football after they were off last week and hopefully get a very big and decisive victory over the game Buffalo Bills. How you doing this afternoon, man?
Hey, I couldn't be more blessed, man. Ready to go. Looking excited for the game on Monday night. The Falcons have been off for a week now. We're going to see what they really made out of. Back to you,
No doubt.
Mr. Logan.
No doubt. Looking forward to watching this game here. Like you mentioned, the Falcons were off last week. Like I said, get a little bit of time to rest and regenerate and whatnot. So hopefully they'll come out firing. We'll talk about all that here in just a moment. But before we really dive into it, talk about this upcoming matchup. If you guys enjoyed the episode, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We go live each and every single week here on the channel, not just talking about the Falcons, but we talk about Tennessee, we talk about college football, NFL football, legends interviews with other great guests from around the world, not even just in sports, but acting, musicians, you name it. We have a very much a plethora here on the channel. Just go on our Facebook and YouTube page, or also go download our podcast as well on all major podcast streaming platforms. And you can just scroll for 5, 10, 20 minutes, and you'll find just loads of content from over the years that we've had here on the channel. So without further ado, Vince, let's get into it. Let's talk about these Falcons. We didn't have you on last week, but I want to get your just reaction going back to their game against Washington. They got the best game they've had so far this season offensively, 34-27 against a Commanders team who we know was kind of hobbled with injuries. We know Jaden Daniels didn't play, but still a very good team nonetheless, of course, led by Dan Quinn, former Atlanta Falcons head coach. What were your thoughts on the Falcons' decisive victory heading into the bye week?
As I told people once before, and I've been saying this on the platform, I think the Falcons have the best talent in the division. I think they're a playoff team. They got real strength at every position offensively. They drafted real well on defense. And to me, losing to Carolina was unacceptable. That was the game of the year for the Atlanta Falcons, coming back and having the performance against the Commandos. Because if they lose that game, they go down 1-3, and I think the rails come off. And then again, they're going to be looking for a new head coach at the end of the year. Make it plain and simple. I'm not going to get long-winded today. The Falcons just got to be consistent. And going into Monday night, they're playing a team that everybody's measuring as a Super Bowl team. And I expect the Falcons to play well. Do I expect them to win the game? Yes, I do. But it's not going to be all that serious if they lose the game close. All I want them to be is being consistent and playing like the talent level they have. And I'm going to say it for the 100th time. It's all about the coaching, Mr. Landers. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's really how it's going to come down to. Of course, we know McDermott out there in Buffalo going up against Raheem Morris. Big test for Raheem, right? We know we just talked about the blowout loss to the Panthers, and I think the less we talk about that at this point, the better, because I know they're hoping to move on to greener pastures. But as I said last week, with the very much impressive win over the Commanders, you got to hope you can build off that, right? You can couple that into maybe a couple of wins, but we know, as you said, that a lot of people still peg Buffalo as a Super Bowl favorite. They have for many years. We know that they're, besides their blemish, their only loss of the season to the Patriots this past week. We'll talk a little bit more about that. They've looked great. But they are coming off their first loss of the season. They were undefeated. They lost to they lost to New England, and also they lost at home, which they don't do a whole lot, but Buffalo still lost that matchup in an AFC East rivalry game with the New England Patriots. And Patriots, they've looked impressive so far this year, 3-2. They improved overall. Drake May, you could say, kind of went toe-to-toe with Josh Allen. Allen had a good performance in that matchup nonetheless. The running game, it was really just Allen and Cook kind of going at it. They couldn't get a ton going overall. 118 yards between the two, with Allen being your leading carrier. But what were some takeaways you saw, Vincent, in that game for Buffalo that what went wrong in that matchup? Because a lot of people thought they were going to blow New England out of the water coming into that matchup. But Patriots, they gritted their teeth, they got through it, and they pulled off in some people's eyes, an upset.
Plain and simple, they played sloppy on offense.
Mm-hmm.
They had 3 fumbles, 11 penalties. They had 2 fumbles in the first half. Josh Allen threw a couple of picks. At the end of the game, you're not going to win championship level football. I thought in that game against New England on Sunday night, I thought Buffalo had control. But as I go back to my original point I just made, you had two fumbles in the first quarter. You had 11 penalties. You take that away, and Buffalo probably wins the game easily. Now, they coming in here to the Mercedes-Benz Dome, and you better believe they're going to look to get it right offensively. And if they don't turn the football over, we know Mr. Allen can really put up some numbers throwing the football. And I like the progression of Keon Coleman, the second-year guy out of Florida State. And to me, they got the best running back in the AFC that we don't talk about. The man out of the University of Georgia, James Cook. We could talk about Derrick Henry all day, but they 1-4. Buffalo is 4-1, and Mr. Cook is the best all-purpose back in the game right now. Back to you, Mr. Landers.
Yeah, no doubt. And James has had, a lot of people kind of been talking for years, saying, man, he's got to get it going. He's got to, step up. We saw he got paid, and he has done great work for Buffalo this year. And and like I said, in their hopes to get to a championship game, get to the Super Bowl, as a lot of people have said that they've been kind of, the spot's waiting for him to take. Right, but unfortunately, just over the years, they just haven't gotten over that last hurdle. And like I said, we still got a lot of football left to play, but looking at this Falcon squad here, Vincent, I mean, that we talked about for really since the season started, the potential for this team, but it feels like we're starting to click now, offensively, especially. I mean, just talk about the growth of what you've seen from Michael Penix, as well as looking, hey, we're on here as well. We all talk about how great Bijan Robinson is. We love him at Texas. He's done great. We know that he's going to continue to do great things. But Vince, I know you've been one of the few that stands out and raises your hand. You defend Kyle Pitts Sr. now. And boy, what a year he's had with that receiving core. It was, well, of course, we know Drake London. Just give me your thoughts on the offense for Atlanta here and how they've really kind of ascended here in the last couple of weeks. I'd obviously take Carolina out of it, but other than that, that asterisk you could say there, just the young core on offense here for Atlanta and how you think they could build off of it.
As I said before, I'm not trying to be like ESPN. I'm not trying to be like everybody else here local in the Atlanta market. I'm not trying to pull out one player and hop on him and try to beat him in the ground. My main point is Atlanta Falcons, and I said this, you can check the tea leaves here on 100 yards of football, and you can back me up with this, Mr. Landers. I said they were a playoff team. I said they got a quarterback that can be a top 10 guy in the league. I say offensively, I put their offense up against anybody. They got a big time running back. They got a big time receiver. You see now, everybody wants to talk about Kyle Pitts. He don't block. He taking out plays. But think about since Mr. Pitts been here. This what really amazed me about people in the Atlanta sports market. Who he's had at quarterback? Matt Ryan, Marcus Mariota, Dennis Ritter. Is any of them people here now?
Nope, no
Is any
more.
of them people right now in the center?
Nope.
So he's finally got a quarterback that's stable who can sling it. And I'm not going to get off this. The Atlanta Falcons, listen to me. This is the best football team they've had talent wise in a long time on both sides of the ball. The loss to Tampa Bay, I could take that because that was a competitive game. And Tampa Bay right now is leading the division. But the loss to Carolina, that's on coaching, man. That's on coaching. This is a good Atlanta Falcons team. They should make the playoffs, and I expect them to be in the playoffs. And they should win a playoff game. They got too much talent, man. The only thing I want to see in this game against Buffalo, I want them to take a step back and play like they did against Carolina. Then you got another. As I said, I hope we don't have a coaching problem. Other than that, the Atlanta Falcons have a real good football team. And as far as Kyle Pitts, you see what happens when you get a little bit of a quarterback that's stable in the pocket. Remember when Matt Ryan was on the center, I think Kyle Pitts had 1,000 yards his first year as a rookie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happened after that? Inconsistency at the quarterback position. Marcus Mariota, he turned his back on y'all. Dennis Ritter, who I thought could play in this league. Unfortunately, sometimes it happened. I make mistakes. Come on, man. Kyle Pitts is a player. Now he's coming up for free agent. I understand if you don't want to sign him for the money, he's going to probably be axing. I get that. But this gentleman was still a hell of a football player to me. So all you people who look for players that you can look at and just continuously pound on them week in and week out to get your numbers up and you very opinionated, One thing I can say is this: majority of your people never played the game. You ain't put on a lick of a pad. So the Falcons, getting back to them is my final words today. It's nothing less for me. The expectations, they are a playoff team, talented team, and they should be competitive on Monday night. And Michael Penix should be a guy when it's all said and done, easily be a 38 or 3,900-yard passer this season with at least 20 to 25 touchdowns and maybe an interception rate of 9 or 10 on a year. And B. John Robinson, we all know his counterpart and a guy that's got a lot of respect for him. Saquon Barkley said he's the best back in the game. Back to you, Mr. Landers.
Yeah, I mean, high praise, obviously, when Saquon is saying that about Robinson. Obviously, Falcons fans, collective, you feel good about that. Knowing the caliber, obviously, that Saquon's played at for his whole career, coming off Super Bowl and whatnot. So hopefully Bijan can carve out a career. He's done great so far. Hopefully he can keep, stepping his way into history, and he's done great for Atlanta in just his short tenure here. But I'm looking forward to this game. Like I said, it's Monday night game, so stay up a little bit later on the weekday and watch it. And I think it's going to be all eyes here in Atlanta. Big primetime game, right? Vince, and we know Atlanta over the years has, in a way, struggled in primetime games. Is always kind of choked or just not put up good performances. But like I said, this is kind of the season here of you're changing the narrative on not just the team, but the culture, but the entire franchise here, and saying, all right, years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, we weren't doing anything. We were older team, had some, inconsistent quarterback play, couldn't get nothing going. We get creamed in the primetime games, but we got a good roster right now. We got a good offense, solid defense as well. Ball players on both ends of the spectrum, and going up against Buffalo, who they're coming in, they're going to be ticked off. They got their first loss in the season. They're going to make a point to prove against Atlanta. They're going on the road as well. They're going to be in, like I said, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So, the fans are going to be hyped for that one. But I'm expecting this to be just a slugfest. They're going to be going score for score, blow for blow. But you got Josh Allen, who we know, look, his accomplishments and his accolades speak for themselves. I'll need to go into that, against the young Michael Penix, who's got something to prove. You got two of the best running backs in the game, James Cook and Bijan Robinson. You've got two defenses looking for something to prove this ball game, looking to get off those quarterbacks and get some picks maybe. But I'm excited to watch this one. It's going to be a good matchup come Monday night. Want to hear your thoughts, though, in the comments section, Facebook, YouTube. Also, go download the podcast as well. You can leave a rating over there or comment as well and talk about how you think this game's going to fare, how you think the final score is going to be. Can the Falcons pull off the biggest win of the season against the Buffalo Bills and ruin their party coming here to Atlanta, give them their second loss of the year? And I don't know if it's maybe the Atlanta Falcons fans can slam Bills Mafia through the table like they do out there in Buffalo this upcoming Monday. We'll see how it goes, though, on Monday Night Football. Well, for Vincent Turner, co-founder here on the channel, appreciate you, as always, Vince, coming on here talking some Atlanta Falcons football. This has been our Week 6 report talking about their upcoming matchup with the Buffalo Bills. Check it out, Monday Night Football. I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Go watch some more football content here on the channel, and we'll see you on another